Okay, so you know how we always hear about robots in hospitals like it's some futuristic fantasy? Well, guess what? Not so futuristic anymore.
Right.
We're diving deep, no pun intended, into this Intel report on robotics in healthcare today.
Okay.
And honestly, it's mind-blowing how close this stuff is to being like our everyday reality.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Intel, a company known for its processors and chips, taking such a keen interest in healthcare.
Right.
It really highlights how technology is poised to completely revolutionize patient care.
Exactly. And they're not just talking about like the robots themselves, it's the tech inside that's the big deal. Like those chips they're known for, those are becoming the brains behind all these medical marvels.
Absolutely. The precision and analytical capabilities of these robots, a lot of that stems from the computational power that Intel brings to the table. We're talking AI, complex data analysis, all happening in real time.
It's like instead of just building a cool robot body, they're creating the robot's brain power, which is, let's be honest, the really tricky part.
Exactly.
So, okay, enough about the tech for a sec. What do these robots actually do? The report breaks it down into three main types. First up, the classic image that pops into everyone's head, surgical robots.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about those clunky things from like 10 years ago.
Right.
This is next level stuff.
We're talking AI and computer vision working hand in hand with surgeons. Imagine this. You've got an AI assistant right there in the operating room, analyzing surgical images in real time. It could spot a tiny blood vessel about to be nicked, something the human eye might miss.
Oh, wow.
And instantly alert the surgeon. The level of precision these technologies can achieve is remarkable.
It's like having a superpowered assistant surgeon who never gets tired or misses anything.
Exactly.
And it's not just about assisting. This report even hints at robots becoming even more autonomous during surgery. Like, whoa, right.
Yeah, absolutely. While fully autonomous surgery is still a while off, the technology is rapidly advancing.
Okay.
However, surgical robots are often very specialized. That's where our next category comes in. Modular robots. These are like customizable building blocks for robotic support.
Oh, interesting. Like building blocks in what sense? What kind of things can they do? Give me an example of how this modular approach is already helping people.
One word: exoskeletons.
Oh, wow. Really? Like those power suits from the movies?
Yeah, they're helping stroke patients regain mobility, like right now. It's amazing to see how far this technology has come and the tangible impact it's having on people's lives.
That's incredible. It's a great example of how this isn't just about fancy tech. It's about actually improving people's lives in really meaningful ways.
Yeah.
And speaking of meaningful applications, this report also talks about this project between Intel and Accenture where they're working on a super advanced wheelchair.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Seems pretty cool.
That project perfectly illustrates how these modular systems can be tailored to specific needs. And then, of course, we have the third category, autonomous mobile robots. AMRs for short.
Oh, yeah, the AMRs.
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first heard that term, I pictured little robots zipping around hospitals delivering like meds and stuff, like robot room service.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's way more than that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. These robots are basically self-driving assistants for hospitals. They can navigate hallways, avoid obstacles, and perform tasks independently. One fascinating example is the RumiBot developed in Mexico.
The RumiBot, okay.
It uses AI to triage patients for COVID risk. Think about that. A robot helping on the front lines during a pandemic.
Wow.
That's just one example of how these robots can address immediate challenges and improve healthcare delivery in real time.
It really makes you realize, like, we're not living in the future anymore. We're living in it. And speaking of the future, this report doesn't just stop at describing these robots. It dives into the why. Like, what are the actual benefits of having robots on the healthcare team?
Exactly. It's not just about having cool tech in hospitals. It's about how this tech translates into better care for patients.
Okay, so let's talk benefits then. What stood out to you?
Well, one of the biggest ones they highlight is this idea of robots leading to higher quality patient care.
Really? I mean, I get how a robot could make things more efficient, but how do they actually make the quality of care better? Isn't that more about, like, the human touch?
That's the thing. It's not about replacing human interaction. It's about amplifying it. Think about it. What if nurses and doctors had more time and energy to really focus on those meaningful interactions with patients?
Okay, I see what you're getting at.
Because a robot's handling the routine stuff.
Like checking vitals, giving medication reminders.
Exactly. Even helping patients get around.
Which frees up the humans for the things robots can't do. The emotional support, the in-depth conversations, the stuff that actually makes people feel cared for.
Precisely. And there are even studies showing that when nurses have more time for those interactions, thanks to help from robots, patients actually recover faster and spend less time in the hospital.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's like the robots aren't just there to make things easier for the staff, they're actually contributing to a better healing environment overall.
Exactly. And this kind of ties into another major benefit the report talks about, streamlined workflows, which, is a huge deal these days with so many hospitals dealing with staffing shortages.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like having an extra set of hands, or I guess an extra set of robotic arms to help with the workload.
Precisely.
I mean, the report even mentioned this robot, I think they called it the TUG robot, that specializes in transporting linens.
Oh, right.
Which at first I was like, okay, a robot that does laundry, that's kind of neat. But then I thought about it, like hospitals go through a ton of linens every day.
Constantly. It's unbelievable.
Having robots handle that could free up so much staff time.
Absolutely. And time is precious, especially in a healthcare setting. It's about making the most of every minute so healthcare professionals can focus on what they do best, taking care of patients.
It's about working smarter, not harder. And in this case, it sounds like robots can help us do both. So we've got better patient care, we've got smoother workflows. What else is on the list of robot benefits?
Well, the report also emphasizes how robots can contribute to a safer work environment for everyone.
Oh, right, because they can handle things that might be risky for humans. Like, what was it, those UV disinfection robots we talked about?
Exactly.
Those are amazing.
The robots can handle hazardous materials, disinfect rooms thoroughly, and even assist with patient mobility, reducing the risk of injuries for both healthcare workers and patients.
It's like we're finally at the point where those sci-fi promises of a cleaner, safer future are actually coming true, at least in hospitals.
Right.
But it makes you realize, with all this talk about the robots themselves, Intel's role in all this is kind of different. It's like they're not just building robots, they're building the foundation for this whole robotic healthcare revolution to happen.
Exactly. You could say they're providing the brains and the nervous system for these machines. The processors, the sensors, the software. These are the elements that enable the precision, the autonomy, and the sophisticated decision-making we're seeing in these robots.
So where does this all leave us then? Like, let's say I'm not a tech expert. I'm just a regular person trying to navigate the healthcare system. What does this robot revolution actually mean for me?
That's the big question, isn't it? This Intel report gives us a glimpse into a future where robots are increasingly integrated into every aspect of healthcare. From surgery to daily tasks, robots are going to be everywhere. And as they become more autonomous, capable of learning and adapting, it raises some interesting questions for all of us.
Like, how comfortable are we with, handing over control in certain situations? Are we ready for a world where robots are making decisions about our health? It's exciting, but kind of unnerving at the same time,
Absolutely. And that's why these conversations are so important. We need to be thinking critically about the ethical and societal implications of this technology. And to Intel's credit, they don't shy away from those tough questions in the report. They specifically talk about the potential impact on medical training.
Oh, right. They mentioned how robots could help surgeons earlier in their careers,
right,
which changes the whole dynamic of learning and experience in medicine. It's almost like the line between human skill and robotic precision is starting to blur.
Precisely. And that takes us beyond the practicalities of healthcare delivery into some really interesting philosophical territory. How will our understanding of human expertise and judgment evolve alongside these technologies? What does it mean to be a surgeon, a nurse, or even a patient in this new landscape?
It's a lot to wrap our heads around.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point of this report, right? It wasn't just meant to be like, hey, look at this cool tech we're making, but to spark a larger conversation about the future we're creating.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the most important takeaway for our listeners is this. Stay curious. Keep asking questions. Don't just accept the technology at face value. Engage with it. Think about the potential benefits, the challenges, the ethical dilemmas. The future of healthcare is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping it responsibly.
Beautifully said. And ultimately, it's not about robots replacing humans in healthcare. It's about robots and humans working together to create a healthier future for everyone. Well, that's it for this deep dive into the world of robots in healthcare. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.